Get out of
Yeah.
here. Wow.
Yeah, it's worth a fortune.
That is worth a fortune.
1909.
All right, we're on the air, guys.
Hi, we're on the air. Welcome to another version of Meet the Mayor. Today, however, we don't have the mayor, but we have two great guys with us. Let me introduce you to Chris Minardi, who is the deputy mayor, and Marcos Baladron, who's the administrator of the village. Thank you guys both for coming. Why don't we start with you, Chris? You were on July 5th. We
Yeah.
did the show, and we were talking about what's coming up over the summer, and now the summer's gone. What happened?
I don't know, it went so fast.
It was just unbelievable.
It really did.
So why don't you give a little background now that you had a pre, let's have a post-summer, and how did it go? What was happening?
You know what's funny is that I tell everyone on my team is I don't want to talk about the beach until the summer's completely over because it's still happening. I mean, the beach is open and, we keep on making decisions on a daily basis up at the beach. So it was a really busy summer. But some of the highlights that we did in the early summer were we enacted our lifeguard test. So the village was approved to administer its own lifeguard test through the county, through the state. And that was a really big deal for us because we have the ability now to certify lifeguards and recertify them.
Oh, terrific.
So our lifeguards, I think different from any other municipality, are tested annually, not the minimum of 3 years. So again, one of the initiatives that I have is to make our beaches the safest in the world, without a doubt.
So I'm sorry. So all summer, you had thousands of people coming, and everybody got home safe. Yes.
Everyone got home safe. We had I think more than double the amount of recorded rescues that we had from last year, which was a record over the previous years. So it just goes to show you that people are coming to our beaches. They're more popular. They're busy. We've staffed up our guards. Our guards are the best ones. We have this test now that we are administering annually for everyone. So again, our guards are tested annually, which is amazing. And also one of the really great things that we were able to do was we were able to secure the K-38 jet ski course.
Oh, right.
And that course came from the West Coast. It is the most highest regarded and renowned jet ski course in the country. And we were able to put a full squad of village guards through. And in addition, our top jet ski operator is now an administrator for K-38. So he can certify people going down the road. So that's a really big deal for the village because I think it's the only beach on the East Coast that's K-38 certified.
So you can certify everybody who works for you. The guards and the.
We have the ability to.
You have the ability to do that.
We have the ability to certify people, yes. Now, if they're qualified, and that's a whole different story because the guards have to get to a certain level before they're trusted to operate the ski. But it's a really big deal for our guards. Again, it just makes the beaches safer and it makes it better for the village and beachgoers.
Good. I think we have some visuals of from the beach for the summer. Can you put there we go.
There we go.
So this I think this was a Tuesday night.
Yeah, this was recent Tuesdays at Maine.
And so talk about that a little bit. What happens on Tuesday nights there?
Well, let Marcus, why don't you explain Tuesday nights?
Sure. Tuesday Nights at Maine is put on by the East Hampton Village Foundation, and its chairman and CEO, Brad Billett, is probably on that stage there in the photo. And he's the one that essentially, the whole point was to promote local artists, in a sense. So when Nancy Atlas helped kind of found the idea with the mayor, and it's become extremely popular. I mean, as Chris said, everybody's going to the beach. They love the beach. They want to be at the beach, but they want to listen to music at the beach. So I think that's become very, very popular.
It really is. I was able to get to the last one because we were having events here all summer too, and it's so much fun.
It is. It's a fun time.
It's a party.
I'd like to note, if you can go back to the first picture, not one piece of garbage. Not one.
There you go.
Zoom in. Our beaches are super clean, and again, we might have 30 to 40 lifeguards working when this picture was taken.
Yeah. So leave it up again for a second. So up there, you could see how crowded it is. The parking lot is full.
Well, it's full.
And
It's cool, but it's organized. I gotta tell you, I'm very proud of the East Hampton Village Police Department. We get multiple compliments on how essentially what that is 2,000 to 3,000 people on and off, in a sense, the beach between 5 and 8 p.m. And it's all done in an organized manner. I think the biggest thing that happened there over the course of 3 years has been a bee sting. It's really impressive how they organize the crowds in and out safely, and
that's terrific.
and the majority of the people up there are families. It's really nice.
Here's a night shot.
That is the
film.
Hamptons International Film Festival, their Jaws showing. They've been trying to do the Jaws movie, Jaws obviously, at the beach for quite some time. And this was a couple hundred people there. And this is a photo by Lee Bertrand, who's just great.
So that's a really good photo.
Oh, it's a beautiful picture. That's a great picture. The other thing is the ocean rescue, and here we have a shot of this. Now, so this is one of the lifeguards, yes?
Yeah, so again, ocean rescue and just our village lifeguards is kind of the same term. We have a really great staff. I think the best guards in the world. They're all capable of going out in any type of condition. And this is a really great shot of someone operating the jet ski in pretty good surf. And they do a lot of training. And, we try to stay on top of the game here. But again, we've got a really great staff of guards. And again, everyone came out of the water this year.
Terrific. Well, I missed summer already, but we'll try to get through. Well, I did do the winter thing.
The plunge.
Yes, I figured before I died, that was on the bucket list, and that's the last time we'll do that. But it was great fun. It was great fun. Marcos,
Yes, sir.
thanks for coming. Why don't you give us a little background about who's Marcos Baladron, and what is it you do at the village?
Well, so I kind of grew up internationally. My mother moved around a lot for business reasons, and they always had a home here in East Hampton. So I always kind of kept coming back to East Hampton. So that was nice. And then after college, I came out here permanently, and then decided to open up my own kind of business with a couple of partners, and we did quite well. And then I think what happened, I think that was during the beginning of the '08 recession. Then I just kind of took it easy for like a year, and then I had multiple people kind of help me or ask me for help to help their business. So I got into consulting for them, and then some real estate and things like that. And then I bumped into the mayor at a Christmas party when he was running, or when he was about to run, and we just got along great and had the same ideas, and met Chris, and it's been great ever since. I got to tell you.
That's terrific. Watch out for that guy.
Yeah, right.
That's terrific. Now, your mother was an international businesswoman,
Yes,
and you were in Germany for a period of time.
correct.
She was working for Mary Kay, yes?
Correct. She was the president of Europe for Mary Kay. So she ran the European operations, sales and operations for Mary Kay.
So did she have a pink Cadillac?
She had a pink Mercedes.
Aha!
They give them pink Mercedes over there, so they think that's a better deal. But yes.
That's terrific. There is one thing you forgot to tell us, though, about yourself. And if you could just put that up. Jody, if you have it.
Uh-oh.
You
Oh, wow.
You won.
Yes.
I'll read this. You received the Honorable Paul F. Rickenbacker Distinguished Service Award from the Suffolk County Village Association. You're the guy.
I did.
That's terrific.
That was very kind of them.
Well,
But
I think it was well earned, is what I think.
well,
why
thank
it
you very
was.
much. That was very kind of the association.
So we'll leave that at that.
Well, I have to chime in here.
Go ahead.
Marcos works long hours, and I was really happy. This is my first stint in the public government as well, and every time I call Marcos, he answers the phone. Every time I need something, Marcos is there. Marcos is the first one at Village Hall and the last one to leave. I don't even know the alarm code because I never have to. I'm serious, and everyone really respects that. So I know everyone in Village Hall, DPW, the entire staff of East Hampton Village. We get along really great. Marcos is kind of like the glue, but I mean, he answers every phone call. He answers every email. He works long hours on the weekends. Sometimes I don't even know what day it is because I'm like, Marcos, it's Sunday. What's going on? Why are you at Village Hall? So he doesn't get enough credit. That award was great, but I mean, there should be more awards. And I mean, the mayor, myself, the board of trustees, all the department heads, we couldn't do half of the stuff we do without Marcos' support and his reaction to getting things done. I'm like, I'm up at the beach. I say, Marcos, I need this. All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, it's done. And that's one reason why the village, I think we've been able to do so much this year, is because when we have to do something, we have the ability to do it immediately. It doesn't have to go through this big whole red tape process. We can get things done really quickly, and I'm proud of that this year. And again, Marcos, you make me look good because I'm running around with kids and other jobs and stuff like this, and I call Marcos and I need something done, it gets done.
Terrific.
So,
well, tell us a little bit about what it is you oversee and how that works.
I like to say it's the best job I've never heard of because it really takes a lot of operations. It's really more like the COO of the village, whereas the mayor and Chris are really combined are like the chairman, CEO. They're more of a the top of the ladder in a sense, right? But then when they make those decisions, somebody has to get it done, and then make others to get it done.
So you're the implementer.
Correct.
Do
I like that.
Do the department heads report directly to you?
They do. Yep.
So fire, police, the whole
Everybody,
thing?
yeah. It's funny, before my dad died, he asked me, he couldn't understand, he's from Spain, and he goes, so what do you do? And I said, it was my first month, and I said, Dad, you have to get my father's attention very quickly or he would drift off at those times. So I said, the chief of police reports to me. And I remember his eyes bugging out, and I was like, yeah, I know, that got his attention. So yes, that's
terrific.
Yeah.
So you go ahead, you oversee all these people and.
I oversee them budgetarily. I obviously don't tell the chief of police anything to do.
I understand that,
on
but
that
I mean-
level. But on a budgetary reason, they report to you. Yes.
Good.
So
Terrific. I'm glad you're here. Let's move on to another subject that never seems to go away, which is Herrick Park. It's been in the news constantly, and there's a recent editorial that said common ground or battleground. So it seems like there is at least one family that is unhappy with what's going on in the park. So, and the question is then, what is the vision of the park from the village point of view? They talk about you're gonna have all these events and music, and it's gonna be terrible and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk a little about what you guys see and where you're going.
Chris, do you want to start, or whatever you want to do?
okay, I'll start, but again, it's not going to end. The vision of the current board right now is to fix and revitalize Herrick Park.
Stay there just for a second.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because we have some more pictures.
Yes, actually, they're needed.
Okay, so yes, these are pictures of Herrick Park at the time we took office, and that is unacceptable. You cannot put kids and school.
Hang on.
That's the after picture, but not only do we have village residents to look after, we've got town residents that use our village. We've got schools that use these tennis courts. We've got kids. I mean, that's dangerous. And look at that's a rusty. It's embarrassing. I mean, I think Jerry, myself, and Marcos and the board, we were embarrassing. Like, how could you possibly allow this to look like that?
I agree. And I'll tell you, put it back up again, Jody, if you would.
Do you have the one on the ball field too?
Yeah, we're going to get to that, all of these. But for me, I remember driving in one day and the fence was gone.
Yeah.
And I said, wow.
Isn't that nice?
I said, wow.
Isn't that
You
liberating?
hadn't done anything else, I don't think, at that moment.
Right.
But you saw the park.
Right.
It was beautiful. Anyway, so that's why I put this one up. But you're absolutely right. We can go on and look at some of the old and new if you want.
No, well, to answer your question in terms of the vision, that's the vision of the park. That's what the park should look like. That's what a public park should be for the kids of the East Hampton Middle School, because that essentially the Herrick Park serves as their playground, serves as their gym. Think about it that way. So, I mean, the photo prior to that is unacceptable to me and to others on the board. And what the village was doing at the time was spending $40,000 to $50,000 every year to just patch it. and just patch things over little by little. And when we finally demoed it in April of this year, we found 3 layers of tennis courts there. And, that's exactly what the old philosophy was just patch it, put a Band-Aid on it and fix it. Whereas we're trying to fix it from the ground up thoughtfully and obviously, being good to our neighbors. But there is one neighbor who's just not unhappy. I can't tell whether he's unhappy or not because he likes the changes, and I think that the park looks better. So I think it's better for the quality of his life because the basketball courts are now moved. But he's also, I think he wants to be involved in the process directly, and I think that's where there's a philosophical misunderstanding, I think, on his end. Meaning, Chris Minardi and the Board of Trustees are elected to provide that vision. They have the mandate from the people in the village for village residents. He does not. He's an interested neighbor who doesn't want certain things next to his home. So we're sitting there trying to protect the park, make it better, and quite frankly, in what we've done in 3 years in office, I think is pretty impressive and to everyone's benefit.
And I remember you, one of the issues for that neighbor was the pickleball courts, and you guys
Yeah.
acceded to his wishes not to have it.
Yeah.
And yet he still brought suit, I think.
It's funny, I spoke to his attorney yesterday who let it slip that if he had known about the April 6th meeting, he probably wouldn't have sued anyway. He told me that yesterday. And I started laughing when I was on the phone with him, and I said, all you had to do was watch the board meetings. I mean, you're about to sue a municipality, and you didn't watch the last board meeting where we would remove the pickleball. LVIS wasn't too thrilled with it either, but they would have done it if we liked it. We were just going to test the striping of one court versus all 3. But then when both neighbors said that they weren't into it, we just removed it. And that's what we did at the April 6th meeting. But 10 days later, we were all a little puzzled as to why he launched the lawsuit. And now he spent, I think he reported in the paper, that over $100,000.
$100,000 he's
$100,000.
spent on this.
The village has spent $8,906.50 on legal bills versus his $100,000. I think this is a little.
Well, and that money could have gone to fixing the park.
Correct.
So
Correct.
the other thing is, so let's take a look. I think we have some other videos of visuals of something recent happened. The Latin Day parade. So this is the kind of thing that you guys think is important
Correct.
to do these things. Now it takes over the park for a day.
Correct. So early on, the mayor and Chris and the board, Sandra as well. So this is the Hispanic Day Parade that happened last Saturday. But one of the things that they've wanted to do is to revitalize the downtown, because obviously things close a little too early. So ways to do it was to drive more people to the downtown via events and that feeling of community that those events at the park can, help for anyone with families, as you can see there. So that's really been the strategy. That's not too.
And I guess the other thing they were complaining, they were afraid of was the talk of an ice rink and a staging for concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that?
He's mistaken. I was at the meeting with Mr. Bebon and the mayor made it was quite simple. So many people are talking to Chris and myself about what should be in the park. So they'll mention things to us like, how about this or how about that? How about an ice rink? How about a stage? Or, I think the middle school wanted to have an amphitheater so that the middle school could do graduation ceremonies, just ideas. And we told him these ideas, and I think he misinterpreted that as thinking that there were actual plans to do that. But we were just telling him as a neighbor, an interested party, as to what could be there. And just like as we did with pickleball, and he didn't like the pickleball idea, and the mayor listened to him and he removed it the next board meeting. So I think this is on his end is just a misunderstanding that's gone a little too far, in my opinion.
Have you received pushback from anybody else?
No,
So mostly the community seems to be happy with this.
they love it. As a matter of fact, I've spoken to two of the other neighbors near the basketball courts. They think it's a great idea. So.
Well, that's a shame. We have one more. Put up the overall shot, Jody, please. So the next step is going to be the basketball court, and I understand you've contracted somebody to put it in.
Correct. We're approving the Land Tech corporations who just did the softball and tennis courts. We're going to contract them officially. The board has approved the design, and we're going to contract them to do the basketball courts just on the other side of the fence of the Stop and Shop area there, near Newtown Lane.
Near Newtown Lane, okay.
What
So
you can't see if you go back to that
Go ahead.
video is that the area in the middle is a full-size football and soccer field. It's not striped at the moment,
Right.
but it has the ability for the middle school to use this park as a recreational area and not overburden the other fields in East Hampton, so that we can have Friday night football if we wanted to. They can have games there if they want to. I mean, look how beautiful that is. That's I'm super impressed and proud of us that we were able to do that. And unfortunately, you are going to have a neighbor that doesn't want change, and that's unfortunate. But everybody else seems to be extremely happy and satisfied, and I am. So, hey, one person isn't so bad.
there you go.
Well, I mean, they were just there yesterday actually doing football, so
It's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, it's what's it, 9 or 10 acres, isn't it?
I think it's 8 acres though.
Call it 8 acres.
8
It's
acres.
still, it's a good-sized park.
Yeah.
And so
And it's a gift to it was meant to be as a gift to the village and town residents. So that's the other thing that Mr. Bebon has to understand, is that we're the village thinking a little globally, in a sense, for our neighbors, the town of East Hampton, that use the park as their area for recreation. So it's a delicate balance of the neighbors, but the deed, the intent of that deed. So
That's right, it's used by both the town and the village.
Right.
And it really is the only large meeting place for these things to go on. They
Correct.
did things like the author's night,
yeah,
and then the next day you had kids reading. I thought that was terrific.
yeah, it was great.
And then you had the Charlie Chaplin movie, where
Oh, right, yeah.
where
Sunday.
they played live music to it.
Yeah,
So they were interesting stuff. So good.
Shakespeare in the
They
park.
have Shakespeare in the Park. They've got the kids thing.
Yeah, the other children's fair. I forget the name.
They
of
have
it.
Halloween. We have Christmas. We've got Hanukkah.
Farmers market.
Farmers market. Again, and when you go, I have young kids, so when I go to any town west of here, they've got all these great facilities. They've got pools, they've got ice rinks, they've got outdoor parks, they've got soccer fields, and they're beautiful. And you come to East Hampton, which people think is the richest and the best, and we were elected to get things done, and we have none of these things. Do you know what I mean? So what a great place to put a recreational facility in the park, not in a place which would affect so many more neighbors. Again, we're trying to legislate pickleball, and so I don't want someone to have pickleball as your neighbor, because you would be upset.
Mhm.
You have 4 neighbors. So our thought was why not put pickleball in a public place? Therefore, when I'm making decisions about residential areas, we can, maybe be a little bit tighter on that, but looser in a public area where we thought it would be okay. But listen, it wasn't, and so we pivoted. So
Terrific.
that's kind of the thought process behind the park, is to have a place to do things.
Good, thank you. One last thing, we have a couple of minutes, is the sewer system that you guys are, tell me, first of all, let's go back. Tell me about what that's all about.
How much time do we have? 3
You got a couple of minutes?
One of the keys that the mayor wanted to do was to revitalize the downtown, and obviously he wanted more restaurants to come to the downtown. So in a long story short is that you need a central sewer to kind of make that happen, right? And the village, if you look at it, let's say on Google Earth or whatnot, if you look down on the village, there's very few spots to put a sewer treatment plant. And so the village does own about 18 acres on 172 Accabonac in order to put that, but it's in the town of East Hampton. So I don't think the town is going to allow us to do anything in that property in the town of East Hampton unless we completely exhaust all of our options in the village, and that's all we were doing.
Mhm.
We hired a firm called Lombardo and Associates with Pio Lombardo to do that, but also the people that make up that committee, it's not just like a business revitalization committee, which was the comparison, which is odd because that you can just get local businesses, but these are the people that decide everything in the village, or that need to be a part of that committee because it's a major road project, think of it that way.
Mhm.
So it is the mayor, and he chairs it. It's his number one goal, other than Herrick Park, is the sewer. So of course he chairs it. Obviously Chris is a part of it. Then you've got the village attorney, who is not, under contract. That editorial was wrong. Then there's myself, of course, because I have to implement it. Billy Hayjack, the village planner. I mean, why wouldn't he be involved? That would be ridiculous not to include him. There's Dave Collins, that has to be included, of course, and Tom Prieto. So you've got the people that you need to make those decisions in a committee, and I don't understand the article or that editorial. It's not an article at all, because those are the people that are needed to even have those discussions. And why not invite that individual who, there's two forms. There was going to be something that was going to be underground in the village that needed DEC and health permits to be approved, and we didn't know if that was possible. Or it was going to be the other method led by the H2M architects that they were designing, that the village also hired in tandem, in a sense, to pursue a different direction at 172 Ecobonic. So this editorial came 8 months after we decided that we couldn't do this with Pio. So it's kind of like old news, in a sense. I still don't understand it, but
Great.
Anyway.
And we are now out of time. That was terrific. Great. Tell us something else then, Chris. We're good. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. It was terrific. And we'll see you next month. Take care.